Hey everyone, I am live at the corner of 75th and Jamaica Avenue, and what we're doing right now is we're visiting some of the Goodfellas stops, and we're going to visit a couple of them here in Woodhaven, Queens. So up above us is the J train, and then we're walking right now along Jamaica Avenue. We're walking east to 78th Street to one of the key locations in the movie. And this is a bus stop here, Q56, along Jamaica Avenue. So let me know where you're joining from. And this is basically, if you did my Goodfellas NYC tour, this is what you would see during the Woodhaven portion of the tour. So we would go out of the subway station at 75th at the JAZ line. And then when we would walk east along Jamaica Avenue. So up here, we're coming up on 76th Street. And this area gets kind of noisy. So we have Herb 101 joining us from Chicago. Hi, Herb. Have you seen Goodfellas or have you been to Woodhaven? So here we're coming up on 77th Street. And again, we're in the Woodhaven section of Queens. So we're heading to Neir's Tavern, and that's at Neir's Tavern on all the social handles. So Joy, I sound great. Thank you very much, Joy. And where are you joining us from? We got Chicago. So Herb has not seen it. Well, yeah, Woodhaven's not a very touristed area. There's basically one or two major attractions in Woodhaven. I'm gonna let the camera go to the left and show you. So at the end of that street, if you could see the woods behind those houses, that's Forest Park. And that's where I actually go to fly my drone, by the way. So I fly my drone around Forest Park. And you see here, Jamaica and 77th is where we are right now. So we got New York versus Chicago, and then that only leads me to one question. Who has better pizza, New York or Chicago? So if each of you, if Joy and Herb want to tell me a pizza place you recommend, we got Gina. Where are you joining us from, Gina? Okay, so I want to show you something. This is Compare Food, which is a neighborhood grocery store. Right over here, there was a plaque that once stood. Okay, there's nothing I could do about the subway noise, but there was a plaque here once upon a time, and this is where former President Trump's father built his first building. There was a plaque there, and it was removed about a year ago, so I'm not sure. Hi, we got Gina, Libero, Florida, but you're from Ozone Park. So you, if you check my Facebook page, you could check and see the Ozone Park video I did. So this is basically, instead of the A train, we got the J train. And instead of Ozone Park, today we're in Woodhaven. So we got Pat's Pizza in Chicago. I only know Giordano's, Gino's East, and Lou Malnati, so I'm sure I have a lot to learn when it comes to Chicago pizza. But right now we're turning on 78th, so we're getting away from the J train and Jamaica Avenue. And what's going on here is we're continuing on 78th Avenue to 87th or 88th Avenue. So this is Woodhaven's a very residential neighborhood, with the exception of Jamaica Avenue. So this is pretty much what you see when you walk on the tour. Gina, this is amazing. Gina, if you're from Ozone Park, you must have been to Woodhaven. It's very close. And I'd like to know, Gina, when did you live in Ozone Park? Because it's, and this is kind of similar to Ozone Park in a sense that you got the A train, and then it's very residential off of the main avenues. Like Liberty Avenue is very commercial, Leopards to a point as well. The tour I did recently was actually Leopards Boulevard. So this is 87th Road, and we're almost at New York City's oldest bar. So if you've seen Goodfellas, then you know, you'll probably realize where we are when we get in there. And there's no shortage of material. So I like to ask everybody from time to time, we're off the main drag now, We're on a quiet side street, so how's the sound quality? Richie, hey Richie, how are you? You tuned in. You missed Jamaica Avenue, but we're almost at Neir's Tavern. We have Richie, from what I remember, Richie's from Howard Beach. So we have Howard Beach, Ozone Park, Manhattan, Pennsylvania, Chicago. Richie, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure you're familiar with what we're seeing. And I'm just going to turn this around a minute. Okay, so very clear sound. Thank you, Kenny. So I'm walking along 78th Street in Woodhaven, and this is where Robert De Niro would have walked. Robert De Niro would have walked here with Ray Liotta when they were talking about killing Maury. Richie's glad I'm doing this. I'm glad to be doing it as well. So, you know, so basically right now this is where they were walking along the street. I'm gonna just flip this and kind of let you see what I'm talking about. So they would have walked along this street, and when they were talking about killing Maury, Marty Krugman in real life. So how's the sound quality? We're at Neir's Tavern right now, so hopefully Loy, the current owner, is waiting in there for us. So it might get a little loud in there. Hi, Shane from Mumbai, India. Thank you for joining. So this is Neir's Tavern. Live, Goodfellas. Okay, so this is Neir's Tavern. I want to show you just how historic this place is. Anthony Bourdain was here in his Queens episode. So I'm just trying to turn this here, and not much I could do about the music in the background. But here, San Diego here. You lived at 80th Street. Deborah, I think you joined one of these previously. So here you can see right now, continuously operating taverns. Dates all the way back to 1829. And right here, here's the other side. The text is the same, but this is a really great shot if you want to see where we are. So, and just to show you, New York is at 25% dining capacity. I know this has nothing to do with Goodfellas, but this is actually what the dining room would look like about after 5 o'clock. This area, part of Woodhaven, gets very busy around after 6 o'clock. So if anybody has any questions, ask them now, because we're about to go in there, and then we're going to have Loy greeting us. Shane says the quality is good. That's great, because I just want to, after I'm done here, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. And just to give you an idea where we're at, because I know we have people that have never been to this neighborhood. So that right there is 78th and 88th Avenue. So with that in mind, we're going to see here. This is the door. And I just want to show you here. This plaque wasn't there when Goodfellas was filmed, but Johnny Roast Beef's pink Cadillac was parked in the wrong direction. You see my hand here? So basically Johnny Roast Beef's Cadillac was parked this way. They would have looked out here, and this is where the Cadillac was parked, because they blocked the streets off for streaming when there's filming around here. Tower Heist was also filmed here, and there was another movie, but Goodfellas is obviously the most notorious for the area. So does anyone from the movie ever go back to Tavern? That's a question for Loy. I only come here when I'm doing the tours, so that's a question for Loy. But when Robert De Niro was pointing at the Cadillac to Johnny Roast Beef, he would have been pointing at 78th Street, and the car would have been going in the wrong direction. So we're going to enter Neir's Tavern right now. And basically, this is it. The bar's kind of quiet today. They have this seat sectioned off because right now there's no seating at the bar. They are at 25% capacity, but Robert De Niro would have sat right around here. So this is where De Niro would have stood, and I want you to see all the pictures. I said Tower Heist with Ben Stiller was also filmed here. And again, I'm doing the best on the noise, but there's not much I could do. Neir's for years. And here you go, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta. This is the fur coat incident, where Frankie Carbone, a fictional character, got his wife a fur coat. This is an autographed picture, and there's going to be even more. There's Carbone walking out of the building.
You're gonna bowl, right?
There's an old
And you
movie
join
picture.
with him.
And unfortunately, this place was robbed a while ago.
Okay, I think
the cash register was stolen, but fortunately, nothing was taken. It's hard to see this, but this is actually a shot of the filming. So that's saw De Niro walking down the block. That's great, Deborah. So that's Robert De Niro, Lorraine Bracco, I don't know who, Ileana Douglas, Martin Scorsese, her boyfriend at the time. And yeah, so there's a jukebox here. And let's say hello to Loy. It looks like Loy's already turned on his mic.
Yeah, hopefully everybody can hear me. If you can hear me, say yes in the comments. Say yes, yes in the comments. Yes, 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 yes. Hopefully you can hear me good, all right? You getting some yeses?
Nothing so far, but it's like a 30-second delay on the comments.
Okay, all right, no worries. So just put that yes in there if you can hear us. And Brian is here. Oh my goodness. It's been a long time since we face-to-face, pre-pandemic, right?
Yes.
So, cool. So what would you like to do?
Okay.
How would you like to do this?
So the only thing I've done since I got here is I pointed out that Robert De Niro sat right around there. I think Anthony Bourdain was here or here.
No, that side, the other end.
So Anthony Bourdain was at this end of the bar. And basically I was showing him all the Goodfellas material. One question, okay, we do have a question. Gina.
Probably, the lighting probably is better this way, right?
Okay, yes, thank you, good point. Yeah. I'm still learning.
No worries.
Okay, so Jonathan Sayers says, Loy, I met you last year in January.
Yes, that's my English connection, right? From the UK, I think.
And he says, hello from England.
Yes.
And so far some people recognize you. I'm trying to scroll down. We're getting a lot of comments now, so you're popular.
Oh my goodness, it's making me blush. I'm a black man, I shouldn't be.
And I like your mask, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Someone gave it to me.
Okay, so Gina asks, do any of the cast members still come here?
We had one last year, around this time last year. We had, everybody remember young Henry, the kid? Everything started out with Kid Henry, the young Ray Liotta, right, in the movie. So a good part of the first part, the kid is growing up and his father telling him, get away from those gangsters and everything. So that actor, Chris Cerrone, he actually came here last year. And we couldn't let anybody know about it because we didn't want the place to be mobbed, we're not sure. So he actually came, and all of a sudden, more and more people started coming. More and more people started coming, and as they found out, and we just had a great time. He stayed for hours. He was only supposed to stay for like half an hour, but he stayed for hours. He was having such a good time. So he has come here, and we've had background actors, and so, but we're still waiting on Robert De Niro to make his grand appearance, and that, of course, we can't really announce, but we're still waiting on him and all the big stars we all know and love.
Yeah, so if you think it got mobbed when young Henry came, could you imagine De Niro being here?
Yeah, it'll be almost like last year with the big saving of Neir's Tavern, where we had thousands of people across the weekend that would come out to support us. So it would be incredibly just too much to handle. So we'd have to keep it quiet. Maybe we just put it in the Neir's 200 private Facebook group we have, so that we got to be careful, be safe.
And speaking of the Neir's private Facebook group, I believe we have some members from that group here. We have a Richie Salmon who says he knows you.
Yeah, Richie's
from Howard
awesome.
Beach.
Yes, Richie's also an ambassador. So there's an official thing that we're working on. It's still in beta right now, and Richie has just been announced as an ambassador. And there's only a few people right now. We're not letting it be public. So he's been incredible a person. He's the one that's helping me and among other ambassadors and volunteers to keep this place going and bring it to where it needs to go. The 200th milestone, 200 years in 2029.
That's going to be a milestone birthday for me as well, but I'm a little younger than this tavern.
Is it?
So if you have any questions for Loy, please post them here. And Loy, looks like you're dressed for St. Patrick's Day. Okay.
Yes, make your reservations now because it is a limited capacity. So I'm sorry if we're going to have to, just make your reservation if you do want to attend.
Okay. And let me see here. It looks like somebody's referencing Loy's mic. They are both hooked up. So if anybody has any other feedback, I think I also want to mention that you took this bar over when?
Yeah, in 2009, unfortunately, it was days from closing, and I figured someone was going to jump in. I was like, maybe Brian or maybe someone else would jump in And so that's how I got involved to try to save it. You know, it's the most famous bar you never heard of, and
So it would have been 180 year. That would have been the 180-year anniversary. Is that correct?
that's exactly right.
Okay. And then also, since then, the Tower Heist and the other movie, were they filmed before 2009?
They were filmed after that. 2011, Ben Stiller and I forgot the director's name, Brett Ratner, Tay Leone, I don't know, like they filmed a movie called Tower Heist right here. And in fact, the director loved Neir so much, he decided to actually put the sign. Normally they'll change the bar's name in these movies, but they said, no, we love Neir. So he actually put it in the movie. If you see it, it'll go Neir's Tavern, and then you see them pan inside. So that was like just a really, really strong sense of love for this place when he did that. And it was great. It was a big blockbuster movie.
Okay. And since then, what, who was responsible for taking the menu items and giving them like Goodfellas name, like the Goodfella burger, the sleep with the fishes,
Yes.
fish sandwich? Who was
That wasn't my idea, to be honest. So we had this chef that came in, and he was just a wonky chef. He's crazily talented, but he just has such a crazy personality. So he established the Goodfella burger with the Goodfella sauce, and he's the one that came up with that. And over the time, we kind of refined it, but he's the one that did that. He also did a Ben Stiller, a Mae West, and he also did, he did a Tay Leone. He called it a three-way fries. It was like 3 different cheeses and a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I was like, don't be naughty. What do you mean by three-way fries?
Yeah.
Tay Leone three-way. But we took the Tay Leone part off and just kept the three-way fries.
So Jonathan Sayers says, your food is great, Loy. And Gina says, thank you. I am going to watch Tower Heist. Because I actually haven't seen the movie either.
You'll see it. Even for that very part of it, you'll see Ben Stiller sitting there. Then they went back and they started sitting in towards the back. And that round table, if you see that round table, you'll be sitting in the seat where Ben Stiller and Tay Leone all sat. I think Eddie Murphy was also in that movie. So it's a lot of big name actors that was in that movie. And, and we all know about, this, unfortunately, Anthony Bourdain.
What year was that, by the way, that he was here?
I believe that was in 2000. I want to say 2017. I'm blanking a little bit, but he was here. He was here, and he sat there, and he figured, you know what? This is a place that he has to be. I mean, listen, there's thousands of places, but he said, I have to do a show on this, and he did. And it was, went on CNN. It was an international show.
Now, did you watch the rest of that episode?
Of this?
The Queens one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I want to, this is not too much to do with the bar, but I want to mention that, Brian, Tower Heist is on HBO this month. Thank you, Ivy. Where are you joining us from, Ivy? I also want to mention that I went to the Momo place in Jackson Heights and the Africana restaurant in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. And I would not have gone to those if it wasn't for that episode, but it inspired me to try a couple other places.
Yeah,
as well.
I think it was great. And he also did a great little talk on the racetrack. We have a deep racetrack
It was over
connection.
here, right?
Yeah, so, yep.
So, if you don't mind, I just want to, if you see out the window, the racetrack would have been on the right side or the left?
So, our racetrack, no, this was the entrance to the racetrack. See,
Okay.
this right here, you see where the road just went this way?
Yeah.
That was the entrance that eventually they just decided to just make it a road after the racetrack closed. Because it's already paved. It was already had an opening,
The track would have been here though, or back there?
No. It was, this area was the entrance to the Union Course racetrack.
Okay.
Right? This was a racetrack that was the most famous one in the 1800s. It was located right here. And that's why Neir's Tavern was established in the first place, because they said the city of New York was empty. So many people would come right here to see these horse races that the city was empty. Too many people were here. So the guy decided to open up a bar to take advantage of all the racetrack fans. And so that's how Neir's Tavern was established. And then, of course, we know about the Aqueduct Racetrack a little further down. And that's where Anthony Bourdain actually did his, his story when he did that episode on Queens.
Okay, I actually have a question. And again, if you have questions for Loy, feel free to put them in. Thank you, MD Sojib, for sharing. Where is the room where Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci go in to have a conversation?
That's right there in the back.
Is it possible to show us?
Yeah. Are you good with this? Or
Yeah, I did show them before you joined us.
Okay,
But
beautiful.
again, these are pictures. Yeah. These are Neir's for years. How long do these stay here?
How long? I mean,
How often do you switch these out ever?
No, we just add. We don't switch people out. We just try to add until we can't add anymore. So if you have a picture of you here inside Neir's Tavern, we'll put it up for you. So this is a way of showing thanks to the people that have supported us, that's been for us, good times or bad times, and they're there. They're there.
And funny how one of the most iconic Goodfellas scenes that actually never happened.
Yeah.
So that's a fun fact. If Loy could lead us to that room, because I think I know where it is, but...
And before the end of this, I'm going to tell you the story that I've heard that was passed down for me of how they even came here in the first place and picked Neir's Tavern to film many, many parts of the Goodfellas movie. So stay tuned. I'm going to go to the back. And then I'm going to be able to hopefully tell you that, right? You're going to remind me about that one?
I will remind you, and hopefully the audience will. Deborah asks if the bowling alley's still there. We know the answer to that.
No, it's not there.
Okay.
But it's the floor. It was too difficult to rip up, so they eventually put a floor over that, the wood, that bowling alley wood, right? Yeah.
Okay. So I want to see this because I've actually never asked Loy this question. So is this the room they went back into?
No, that's not it.
Okay, that's
right over here.
Okay, so okay, this makes sense because I believe, are these sliding doors?
Yes.
Okay.
This
So this is the first time I've ever been back here. Loy, I can answer that, Michelle. Loy was not here during the filming of those movies. He bought this place in 2009.
That's right.
So Loy is stepping into a very tiny room. How did you manage?
So before that, this actually went back. This wasn't here. So if you look in the Goodfellas movie, in this scene where they pull the door, and he's like, "What do you want?" You know, this is the door. You'll see the bottom of the staircase, and this went further into the next area. So we just eventually just closed this part off after they closed the bowling alley and all these things like that. There was no access to it anymore. So this was the only thing that's left from Neir's Tavern. So we had to just close it off, and now we just make it into a closet.
Okay, so that's a very tiny closet. You would have trouble fitting more than a few people in there, especially during COVID times. It wouldn't be allowed. You don't even have 6 feet to social distance in there.
No. But this is the scene. So if you guys look back at the scene, you'll notice what they, Ray Liotta was in here, and Robert De Niro, and the guy with the toupee. He was trying to ask for his, like, "Hey, where's my cut? Hey, I see everybody dressing fancy. That guy brought a pink Cadillac, and that guy got a mink coat. Where's my money? Where's my money?" And he kept yelling and yelling. And finally, he's like, "Do you want your money? Do you want your money?" And he knew. Anybody Goodfellas fans, anybody gangster fans, you know what that means. You're about to get whacked if you don't cut it out. But eventually, they brought him through this door, and they walked out and they cut to another area, which is not here. And that's when they got him in the back of the car.
Okay, now I want to thank you for doing a G-rated version of that conversation, because that's not the exact, those weren't the exact words used. I always get a kick out of it.
We have a lot of kids that come here, so I have to make sure that, we have kids over there, so I want to make sure that we always PG.
And I want to encourage you, watch it yourself and you'll hear what the real conversation was. And Gina, when you watch that, yes, just pay attention, pause it, and pay attention to that little scene.
Yeah, look.
Now, next to the ladies' room, here's a painting.
Yes.
Do you know who did this?
Yes. So this is Robert DeSimone. His daughter did that. Robert DeSimone wrote a gangster. Not really a gangster. He did a book on the real Henry Hill, and he interviewed him. And his daughter decided to do an authentic painting of the Goodfellas, the 3 main characters there. And what he ended up doing was, it was actually someone that won it when they came here, and they decided to give it back to Neir's Tavern to mount, because that was like, just, they felt it was more important to have it here at Neir's than at their house. So that's how it ended up here. And so we keep it here. And he signed it and everything. Great guy.
Now, you know that the Tommy in the movie's real name was DeSimone?
Yes. I don't know if the connection, I didn't go that far.
Can you please put this up closer to your mouth? I'm getting a couple, have them, talk a little louder. I think, yeah, if you could put it closer to your mouth.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Do you have that picture? Do you have that picture in your house? No, I don't, Gina. But I want to show you real quick. Here's this is probably my favorite wall in this place. We got a gray-haired Robert De Niro, and that was 31 years ago. That's Johnny Roast Beef, and in the background you could hear somebody imitating De Niro. This was before he was an A-level. I would say Samuel L. Jackson was not an A-level actor at that point.
No, he was not.
But maybe Ray Liotta wasn't either. Just De Niro and probably Pesci.
Yeah, Pesci. That was it. I mean, this movie made a lot of them. A lot of these actors.
I would say De Niro's the only one that was already, established. But everyone else really benefited from it.
Yeah, and this is. I'll just let you know. This is actually a certificate of insurance for this place that the movie company had to give us in order to make sure that if something happens, they will be liable. So this is a copy of the certificate of insurance from when they filmed Goodfellas here. And you can see, I think in here it'll say, obviously you see the name of the company here. Warner Brothers is the one that was behind that. And I think they had the original name, Wise Guys, because it was really called Wise Guys first based on the book. So they have that here. This is the insurance. And this one here, I have to tell you about this. This was given to us by an actual security guard that was held up at the Lufthansa heist. This guy was a worker at the airport and got held up by the real gangsters. And so what he ended up doing later on was writing a book about his experience. And it was called Inside the Lufthansa Heist. And so he decided to give us a replica of the crime scene that the FBI mapped out. So these numbers are different areas of this crime scene that the FBI actually started documenting and started doing reports on to eventually try to catch these guys. And you can see number one is landing my truck at 2:30 in the morning. The heist van entered the ramp. That's number two. So you can when you come here, you can take a look at that and you'll see how the robbery was actually corroborated through the whole thing, and how they stole at that time the largest theft in history, like in America. It's still there. And one of my favorite things that he wrote here, if you see, the actual author wrote, and he came here and he did a talk. It was really great. And he's actually still scared to this day.
Scared?
Oh yeah, he's very afraid. In fact, he doesn't even have internet and stuff like that because he's afraid that the government might think that he was involved in all of this FBI conspiracy thing. And I feel bad for the guy, but he eventually came out and he spoke and he showed his book. But I love that he wrote this to us. He says, Neir's, I didn't get whacked and now I'm drinking a beer at Neir's. That was it was so cool that he wrote that, He didn't get whacked and now he's drinking a beer at Neir's. So that's just a little bit more about the Goodfellas history here at Neir's Tavern.
Okay, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them here in the comments. And no, again, Gina, I don't have that picture. I don't have this poster either. I actually have very little Goodfellas memorabilia. And I want to ask you another question. This place was broken into about a year ago, maybe a year ago?
It was in the fall.
Back in the fall.
In the fall.
And I noticed, because I come here fairly often, nobody touched any of this.
No, they just went after the cash.
Yeah. So you've had a pretty, between COVID, getting broken into, the other issues, which you could go online and see, just Google Neir's Tavern, Mayor de Blasio. You could get that kind of behind-the-scenes story.
Yeah.
Now, about that robbery, if you do my tour, the place we visit before we come here is on Leopards Boulevard, which I did a tour of last week. So you can actually see where this was all plotted if you do the tour. It's now a Jamaican Guyanese restaurant. Have you been?
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with?
Yes.
GT Kingston.
Yep, I drive by all the time. The time.
Yeah, so they, because stuff actually happened there in real life, there's no reference to it or anything on the inside. But
yeah. This is like Brian. One thing I think we should recognize why Neir's is so important to the film history and Goodfellas history and gangster mob film history is because this is the only place from that movie, and probably most movies, a gangster movie, that still has all the same characters, as unchanged since that movie was done. They could do Goodfellas Part 2 here without have to recreate anything. You know, we still remain the same in that sense. So that other places, unfortunately, they close down or, you know, becomes like, you know, some other crazy thing.
the diner in Maspeth burned, and now it's just a parking lot. You know where I'm talking about?
Oh, those words are like curse words to me. Like, I can't believe the diner from the iconic diner from the Goodfellas burnt down, and now it's a parking lot. That's like curse words. It's just crazy. We're losing so many, and that's why I'm here trying to let people know, like, hey, you know what? If there's one thing that you could do throughout this pandemic and everything, is trying to find a place, even they don't have to be Neir's, but somewhat similar that has that values, and just keep supporting it. You know?
And I'd also like to mention, this is a very affordable place to drink. Especially like less, you know, more and more, at least the guests I have, a lot of them stay in Brooklyn. And Loy, if I'm correct, Brooklyn is only about 4 blocks from here, Cypress Hills.
It's right there. You can walk there in like less than 5 minutes.
Now, is that East New York or is it Cypress Hills?
Cypress Hills first.
Okay.
And then East New York.
Because we actually stop in East New York during the tour, because that's where Henry grew up, that's where the cab stand was.
Wow.
So that's actually, we stopped there earlier in the tour.
Right, yeah. And I tell you, Brian really, if there's any Goodfellas gangster tour, like, Brian really does a great job, and his heart is into it, you know, like he really is. And if you want to really know about something, pick someone that's actually into it. Like, not just doing it because, hey, you know, I'm gonna make a couple dollars or whatever. This guy actually cares. So this is the person that you should connect with if you want to talk anything about Goodfellas or these tours. Check out that tour. It's priceless.
And I also want to mention that I'm planning on doing a Facebook Live from Astoria, Queens, because a lot of stuff was filmed there as well. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 of the sites have been demolished, but we could get back to, right now we're in a different part of Queens. We're in Woodhaven, which is a more residential neighborhood. So if you want to see, I want to mention about this bar. If you want to see the real Queens and the real New York by extension, come here, because this place is just in the middle of a bunch of row homes. I don't know if you call them row homes, but single family homes. This place is just placed in the middle of a bunch of single family homes, and you don't need a car to come here. I actually drove here today, but you could easily get here on the J train. It's if you watch the beginning of this video, you know exactly how long. I started at the 75th Street station. I was here in 5 or 10 minutes. And if you have any more questions for Loy, I know he's got to get out of here soon.
Well, I'll tell you how, you know, whenever you're ready, I'll tell you the secret of how Neir's Tavern was picked for the Goodfellas to be filmed here. Someone told me. So whenever you're ready, you let me know about that one.
Okay, I got a couple comments, not questions, but comments. Jonathan Sayers, Loy, you should be very proud of yourself. Yes, absolutely. And hashtag beers at Neir's. If you've never been there, make it a point to visit.
Hashtag beers at Neir's. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so now I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you saying? Why this was chosen?
Why did they choose Neir's Tavern for the Goodfellas movies to be filmed here? Like, why? How did it even happen in the first place? Like, how that, you know, that is the key to find out the origin of how this all happened, where, you know, this was picked. It was hidden. It's hidden. Brian said it. We all know. Someone's have to take you here. This is not something you're going to accidentally just bump into, you know? And so the story is this, from one of the casting agents that eventually came here. she was telling me that they were filming somewhere else in Queens. As you know, a lot of the movie was filmed in Queens.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but go to my blog, imayrome.com. I'm up to 30 locations. If you combine the movie and real life, I have up to 30 locations on there with addresses. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Do you have a little bit on that? Or how these different places were picked or chosen to be Goodfellas locations?
I came up with 14 or 15.
Okay.
They were in Fort Lee, New Jersey, Westchester County, New York. The rest are, the mall was in Staten Island.
Yeah.
But as far as Queens, we have Maspeth, the diner was in Maspeth, the supper club was in Maspeth.
Yes.
Salerno's, it would have closed like 3 years after you bought this place.
Yeah.
Actually, our stop right before here, I apologize, I was wrong.
Yeah.
The stop before Neir's Tavern is actually the former Salerno's, and then it's also Bessemer Street, I believe it is. That's where the bodies were discovered.
Yeah.
So I know about where the bodies were discovered. I also know, and that was Bergen Beach in real life. And then I also know about Salerno's, which is no longer open. Anything beyond that is Astoria.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else.
I thought it was funny that they decided to film here, and I was like, how would they even decide to do that? And someone told us it was not by design. It was not by design. It was actually accidental. They were filming somewhere else in Queens, close by, probably the GT Kingston restaurant, somewhere close by, and they wanted to find a phone, because back then phone wasn't so plentiful, so every bar had a payphone. And so one of the assistants was asked to, hey, go make a phone call, whatever. And she was running, trying to find it, and they somehow happened to pass this street. As you know, it's hidden already. She's like, oh my God, a bar. She jumps in to try to make a phone call, and then she discovered that, oh my God, she looked around and said, this place is gorgeous. You know who would love to come here and check this thing out, and including the movie, right? Martin Scorsese. So she went back and said, Martin Scorsese, you got to go check out this place. And that's how
That's Martin Scorsese right there with the beard and the white shirt.
That is the genius behind the Goodfellas movie. He looked at it, came and looked, and then he said, that is it. We're going to shoot here as much as we can. And that's how 14% of the movie was filmed here. Because
14%?
You start looking at it, you'll look at it. A lot of the scenes, many of you might not know, and that's we have to do that in person and create like a whole book to show you all of the other scenes that you might not know about, right? You know about this scene behind the wall here, this whole door. You know about the entrance and the mink coat and the outside, but there's a lot of other scenes that you might not be aware of. So that's why there's 14% in the movie was filmed. I started counting it, and I was like, that's Neir's, and most people only recognize 2. So one day we'll do something official and go through all of the locations, all of the timestamps that Neir's was in that movie.
Yeah, so when I do the tour, you probably saw this before, I actually bring an iPad and I have different parts of the movies bookmarked. And I can't show the whole thing, but I do show the Cadillac, the mink coat, and then I show Jimmy at the bar, and then also they're walking, before I got in here I was showing them that they were actually walking south on 78th Street. They were walking from Jamaica Avenue to
down.
here.
Yes, that's right. And there's another scene, actually it was against this wall, and they were playing cards. They were playing a card game, but the card game wasn't the one where Spider got shot in the foot. There was a card game that we're playing talking about, hey, you know what, maybe we should whack that guy. He's like, we have to get rid of a couple of guys. They're making too much waves. And so we're playing cards discussing that. And that was an important scene because at the other side of it, Ray Liotta said, actually Robert De Niro told him, it's like, you know what, forget about that thing. And then Ray Liotta said, Henry said, you know what, oh, thank God, I don't have to whack that guy. That scene happened right there. And that was a couple minutes as well. There's so much other little scenes that happened here. It ended up being a lot for one location.
Yes, because these guys, like a lot of their lives were spent in social clubs and bars and stuff like that. So that part of it's realistic.
Yeah, no, it's realistic because I'm gonna tell you a real gangster story, not movie gangster. So I haven't really tell this to a lot of people, but I'll tell you a real gangster story. Neir's Tavern, and I like to keep it PG, but there were gangsters, like real life, like Gotti gangsters that would come here in the 80s. And they wouldn't do violence. They would set up shop back here and they would collect on a lot of the gamblings. People will come and they'll give the money and they do the dealings here in the back. But they would not do any violence here. So one of them who got released from prison not too recently was named John Alight.
I read his book.
Right, he's got a book out now.
And he called Woodhaven Bloodhaven in his book.
Yeah, so these guys ran all around Howard Beach, Woodhaven, all of this stuff, but they never really did much dirt here. They just used this to collect the money and exchange, and people come and give the money like a bookie.
So you're saying in real life, they would come to the actual Neirs in real life?
Yes, and he was one of the ringleaders for Gotti that would handle this location in the back here. And if you read, you look up more about him, you'll see a CBS 60-minute piece on him and him coming here explaining how he used to sit right here in this seat and how he used to be, this area just be collecting money and stuff like that. And it was a real life gangster location where, you just got to be known and, you'll be all right. There was no violence. It just, if you come here, you're part of the crew, And that's what he said.
Sestoni. Somebody just put Gina from Florida, originally Ozone Park, says Louis Sestoni. And Ivy says it was to be filmed, Tower Heist was to be filmed at Elaine's in Manhattan, but it was too upscale, so they moved it to Neir's because it was close to Astoria, which is where Stiller's house was in the movie. If you say so, I've never seen the movie, but
yeah,
I love little tidbits like that.
Yeah, you gotta look at it. And I spoke with Brett Ratner directly with one of his motivations for filming here, and one of the motivation has to do with the Goodfellas. He respected and loved Martin Scorsese, and so the fact that Goodfellas was filmed here, he pulled all strings. In fact, he was like, "Listen, whatever I have to pay you." And I wanted to say just buy the building for us, but I don't think he would go for that. And he decided like he had to film here. And in fact, that's why I said that he put Neir's Tavern in the movie itself instead of changing it, because he was so fond of the place and the history and the Goodfellas connection. And it was an amazing experience, and it was so much to that day, because it must have been like 2 foot of snow that fell when they were doing that. And Goodfellas was doing fake snow back in July of like '89.
You see, I'm learning too.
Yeah, it was fake snow that they had outside. It was filmed like towards the summer, like July, and they had fake snow outside to make it look like a Christmas scene. It was actually summertime, So if you look up on YouTube, you see one of the videos where they're putting the fake snow around. Someone did like a little candid video.
Yeah, and also I want to mention that I'm planning on doing some more videos in different areas where the movie was shot. So definitely my YouTube channel is youtube.com/BrianMayRome. And I'm going to upload this to YouTube. Hopefully the sound quality is okay. If it is, it's already going to go to Facebook as soon as we end, but I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well. So if you have any more questions for Loy, I know he's running short on time. Now would be the time to ask. And I believe it's around 3:45 right now.
Yeah. Someone said they couldn't see it. I don't know why. Someone said they couldn't see it. I don't know why. I'm sure it's.
I mean, we do have people tuning in. I'm sorry to hear that, but
some people, maybe it's too many people on. They couldn't let more people on. I don't know.
So anyway,
we'll have it available. It'll be available online after this, so you can watch it. And if there's any additional questions, you can ask it now. But I mean, there's too much stuff, so you'd have to ask the questions to bring it out. Too much information here.
And also, Lawrence Belomo says, Goodfellas was also filmed my mom's house in Howard Beach. I was there for the trunk cleaning scene. They rented our house for 10 days.
Really? Wow. Any pictures? Any pictures?
Yeah, if you have any pictures, please send them to us or Neir's Tavern, or both preferably. But I want to mention, I thought that scene was actually filmed in, we missed the whole beginning. It did not start when it said. Okay, so Ivy, the whole thing will be uploaded later. And I thought that scene was filmed in New Rochelle, New York. So now I'm learning. Lawrence, I promise if you send me that address, I will not share it with anyone, but I would like to do a drive-by at some point and see where you're talking about. So if you want to privately share that address with me, you got my word that I won't be sharing it with anyone else. Okay, so Louis Sestone, wow, that was amazing. Gina Riberos from Florida says.
Are they enjoying? Are you guys enjoying this?
Yeah, and I want to thank Loy for taking up his time to come here. Is there anything else you want to say about the movie, the bar, how you can support this place?
Absolutely. The only reason why Neir's Tavern is still here to show you about Goodfellas history, to talk about Robert De Niro and one of his biggest movies, is because of, especially last year during the pandemic, the Neir's 200 group. The Neir's 200 group is a group of customers that not only just eat and try to eat and do takeout, which is so important, but decided to really try to find different ways to support Neir's. And some of them are hosting events, some of them are just doing some really great things, helping us with dealing with media and all kind of different things. And so I implore you to join the Neir's 200 group. It's a private community group. We don't tell people to join, you should request to join. It's a place where you want to be there. If you want to be there, you request to be there. So be part of that if that's something that interests you, and let's work together to make sure that Neir's Tavern is around for another 191 years.
Okay, so Richie says Neir's is still here because of Loy. Jonathan says you're a great presenter. Thank you, Jonathan. I hope you mean both of us.
Both of us.
So I hope you mean both of us. Gina says great interview. If you have any more questions, please put them here. And anything else you want to say, Loy?
Yeah, just go to neirstavern.com. You'll find all the different ways you can assist Neir's Tavern support. And if you would like to get a tour somehow privately, please talk to Brian. He has the most incredible history of this thing, and anytime he does one, if he lets me know ahead of time, I'll come here and meet you as well. So that's my promise to you. I'll try to come here and meet you guys as well when you go through Brian and book an official tour.
Thank you, Richie. And also I want to mention to everybody else, if you follow my page, I May Roam, I also want to say you would get notifications when I go live.
I have a prize. I'll show
okay, so Lloyd just stepped away, so I'm going to turn here so we could actually see the back wall, because this is one of the most important parts. So we're pretty much going to wrap up here. So you'll be doing Brian's tour. Thank you, Jonathan. It's if you just Google a Goodfellas Tour of NYC or go to imayrome.com. And I believe Lloyd I'm going to turn the camera back on Lloyd.
Let me show you the name, the sign.
Okay.
And then I'll show you the set.
Oh yeah, so everybody should see this. Great idea, Nancy. Thank you.
All right. The Neir's 200 community group is planning the street renaming. As you might know, Neir's Tavern will now have a street sign that's called Neir's Tavern Way out in the front. It's actually official law already. So one of our guests and supporters actually made us a replica ahead of this official street renaming, where this corner will forever be known as Neir's Tavern Way.
He's talking about right through that door.
Right,
that's the bar.
Yep. So when you come here, you would see when we do the official street renaming, Neir's Tavern Way on the street, as per DOT. And so that is something that I'm thankful for the Neir's 200 group, and also for you as a prize, we have a miniature version for you.
It's a keychain. If you take
miniature keychain.
Okay, so
that we'll give to you. This is not on the website for sale or anything. We'll give it to you for free if you come in this month, March. Come in this month, we'll give you one for free. It's a little gift for your support.
Okay, Gina says, congratulations, this is great. The one other thing I want to point out is, I believe that's Mae West.
Yes.
That's decades before my time, but I guess what's her story?
This is where most people don't realize. See, we all look at the big media, but Mae West got her start right here. And that door was the entrance to a beautiful ballroom from the early 1900s. And it was so beautiful that it had this wraparound balcony, like all the old West saloons. And people used to stand up there and watch her perform. And you would look up and you'd be like, wow. And so that was the entrance. So you'd eat here, have some drinks, you go in there and watch the show. And Mae West, and along with other people, W.C. Fields and so forth, was all part of that history. And that was in there. Obviously, we don't have access to that anymore. This is all we have left, and this is all we're trying to hold on to. So we don't lose anything else. We might lose the dining room next, who knows? And now we just have the bar. But it's like it's coming on top. So that is the history about Mae West. She lived just a few blocks that way and another avenue that way. And that's where she lived before she got big, and then she got famous, and then people, oh, she's from Brooklyn. She was from Queens. She was a Queens girl. And she actually visited here and performed here. You know, so that is the truth. Look it up.
Gina's asking, can you order the shirts or mugs online?
Yeah, the shirts are available and the mugs should be available.
Okay.
Yes. You can go right to nearstavern.com and you'll see more about how to support us in different ways.
Okay, Gina, if you could confirm that you heard that, that would be great. And so the only other thing I can mention is I believe our last president's father is from Woodhaven. Is there any truth that he used to come here?
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk that off camera.
All right.
But we'll talk about that off camera. But there's a lot of people. Even, there's a president in the 1800s that came here because there was a Democratic club upstairs.
Still or before?
Well, in the 1800s,
Oh, okay.
the club is no longer up there. But Grover Cleveland.
From New Jersey.
He came here and he visited here, and there was I have a podcast that this 90-year-old fella told me all about him coming here, and so it was just incredible history. So I could go on, but this has been an incredible experience, and I'm happy. I always like to give people something. I'm a giver, so I'll give you guys this for tuning in to Brian's Facebook Live, and to thank you for everything that you guys been doing.
All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. Please like my page. I'm sorry about the people that had some difficulty finding this, but I do want to mention that if you like my page, it should give you a notification regardless if you accessed it through the event. So I'm signing off. I'm saying goodbye. If you have any questions or if you want to share any addresses with me that I may not know that aren't on my blog, please feel free to send me a private message. I won't share anything you don't want me to share. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day. And I'm just signing off, saying goodbye from Neir's Tavern. Again, we stopped here on my Goodfellas NYC tour. It's you purchase it through Airbnb. And that's all I want to say today. Nancy says, thanks, Brian. Thanks. Please like the page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hopefully I'll have this up by early in the week on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Jonathan, thank you. And I hope to see you on future ones. I am planning, by the way, next Sunday at 4:30. I'm planning on going live. You're welcome, Gina. I'm planning on going live next Sunday. I'll be sharing just a couple of details I have to work out. If that happens, I will be creating an event. So thank you very much. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, everyone from Ozone Park, Florida, Pennsylvania, Manhattan, everywhere.
See, Chris Cerrone, the actor from the Goodfellas movie.
Okay,
he said he's ready to come here whenever he's ready.
I'm gonna flip this really quick.
This is the actor.
Trying to touch. Okay, now I see it. Rick.
Okay, so Christopher Cerrone, he's the young Henry Hill in the movie. He was so important. So if you look, actually, this is him. If you see his photo, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you remember that face? You know, the younger one, his eyes inside. This is him. Came here and people loved it. We're gonna set something up within the Neir's 200 group. We're gonna try to plan something nice. So he just sent us a message that he's ready. He's like, I'm ready. Just let me know. Great guy. So that's the news. We'll work on it. You heard it first here.
Okay, and the one thing I want to say, he will not burn your car. He won't be smashing your windows out, pouring gasoline in and burning your car. That's only in the movie. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Loy. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. I look forward to seeing you on more of these. Have a great Sunday.